One thing that Disneyland absolutely does better than any other theme park is theming. It's everywhere at Disneyland. It's in the streets, in the shops, in the restaurants and attractions. And in this episode of Fresh Baked, we'll be listing for you our top 10 best themed queues at Disneyland. We'll start with the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Now, I just love starting out by going through that covered bridge along a riverbed with lots of rocks and vegetation and vegetables growing all over. I love those honeypots right here, and this treehouse is kind of a hidden gem. And perhaps the best thing of all is this riverbed that you can see after you exit the attraction. You cross Pooh Sticks Bridge, where you can enjoy a really fun game of Pooh Sticks with your friends, or walking alongside a miniature version of Pooh's house and others. And don't forget to head to the back of the attraction to see a wonderful little waterfall that really makes you feel like you're in the middle of the 100-acre wood. Hard to believe you're literally just a stone's throw away from Disney Way and the Mickey and Friends parking structure. Star Tours enters our list in spite of my dislike of simulators. It's here, though, for the same reasons the others are, and I just can't ignore it. Once inside the main show building, you are transported to a pretty cool interstellar space airport thing that includes a display of destinations, clips from the films, as well as custom video that they made just for the attraction. But even better, you can get up close and personal with a Star Speeder or C-3PO or R2-D2, and even Admiral Akbar. You very much do feel like you're in a space terminal getting ready to board a Star Cruiser for the adventure of a lifetime. It's possible the Imagineers of the Jungle Cruise have succeeded in creating a queue that is the most perfectly matched to its attraction. The Jungle Cruise itself is a wonderful journey through some of the world's most famous rivers and jungles. However, the dock on which you board your boat is as lifelike and real as one that you might find in a jungle and blends in perfectly with the river excursion. I love all the pictures on the walls, the artifacts, the animatronic birds, and the awesome views you're provided while you walk along the two-story queue. I believe that it's a perfect example of the kind of experience Walt had intended. Next on our list is the Tiki Room, but only if you agree that the pre-show is queue and not part of the actual show. There is, of course, no real queue to speak of, just a waiting area, but what a wonderful waiting area it is. While you wait for the next show to start, you're treated to a lovely little show introducing you to some of the most legendary tiki gods like Pele, the god of fire, my favorite, Koro, the midnight dancer, or the tiki boss himself, Tangaroa. And the queue sports two unique features that can be found only at the Tiki Room. It is the only queue, the only attraction in fact, that has a bathroom. And it's the only queue that serves dessert. How cool is it? How Disney is it that you can enjoy something as perfect as a Dole Whip before enjoying something as historic as the Tiki Room? Next up is Pirates of the Caribbean, and admittedly, there isn't exactly a whole lot going on. There's no animatronics and only a smattering of truly immersive theming. Just the bridge and the roundabouts outside with a fountain and then the small island inside. But I'm sure most will agree this is one of the queues that just announces to everyone, you're at Disneyland. The bridge, in my opinion, is iconic, as is the fountain. The bridge over the entrance creates one of the most photogenic places in the park. And once you're indoors, you've got the familiar smell of Pirates of the Caribbean. And that's one thing you can't say about any other queue in the park. Its smell is distinct, memorable, and one of a kind. Much like Pirates of the Caribbean, the Haunted Mansion is a queue that reminds you of just where you are in Disneyland. Walking through the gate at the entrance is something like a religious experience, if you ask me. As you cross the threshold, you are completely transported to another time and place. You have definitely left the world with which you are familiar. Once inside, you're greeted to just a little bit of Disney history. Their coach driven by a ghost horse, the graveyard and tombstones, and the mansion itself. Some of the most iconic images in Disneyland history. And what's cool about the Haunted Mansion queue is that it's really hard to tell, where the queue ends and the ride begins. Is it at the door? Or is it in the stretching room? Or once you're in a doom buggy? You know it's a good queue when you're not sure if you're in the queue or in the show, am I right? Splash Mountain is one of those attractions where I feel like the line between ride and queue is perfectly blended, just like the Haunted Mansion previously. When walking through the queue in the beginning, you feel connected to the ride, even to the point where you're within a few feet of a log that's, in mid-ride. And it's a very long, meandering queue traveling up and down and around the mountain, which gave Imagineer Tony Baxter lots of time to lavish you with theming touches. The deeper into the queue you go, the deeper you go into the mountain, and the more in love you get with the attraction. And you know, it's funny, as I think about the queue, part of me wants to keep going into the ride in a log, traveling through the Briar Patch, and I get an even better appreciation for just how seamless the ride and queue are in this attraction. Disney has done an amazing job of bringing you into the animated world of Toontown with the queue for Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin. The characters and scenes from the movie come alive as you walk through the queue on your way to a ride with Roger Rabbit. In fact, it's so good that the queue itself is at least a co-star of the attraction. It's so good, you sometimes wish the ride was more crowded so you could take more time observing. Like this bouncer guy right here, and this oversized prop room, and the bulletin board with some pretty fun inside jokes. And then there's Baby Huey reading the paper and listening to the radio. This, by the way, is one of the spots where you'd like to stop for a minute and listen to the radio announcements. I just love this part. And you can even find a formula for dip. Big Thunder is my personal favorite attraction in the park, mostly because it's the perfect blend of ride and show. As you make your way through the queue, you get more and more immersed in the world of an old mining town with runaway trains all around you. I can't tell you how much I love seeing the trains go by in various places from the queue. Here, this is cool right here. And I love walking under this bridge as a train makes its final approach. Much like Splash Mountain, queue and ride come together for a complete experience. And like Splash Mountain, designed by Tony Baxter. Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Forbidden Eye is number 1 on our list of best queues in Disneyland, and I'm pretty sure very few would disagree with this. It's so big and so dense and so packed with detail and creativity that it's almost too much to take in. The outdoor queue is beautiful, with an amazing view of the temple that serves as the facade for the interior queue. And oh, that interior queue. Artifacts, paintings, cryptic symbols, interactive pieces that include ceiling spikes that make a run at the top of your head, and this fellow that seems to have fallen down a well. And again, much like Splash Mountain and Big Thunder Railroad, the deeper you go, the more you see. And just like those others, also designed by Tony Baxter. This is why, by the way, he is my favorite Imagineer of all time. This queue is so fantastic. It's a shame I can't cover more in the minute or so that I can give it in this list. But suffice it to say that this is the most beautiful, the most complete, and the most extensive queue in any park in the world, and is the benchmark for classic Disneyland immersive theming. And that's our Fresh Baked list of top 10 themed queues in Disneyland. What are your thoughts, Fresh Baked? Which attraction shouldn't be on this list? Which one should? What is your favorite queue at Disneyland? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll choose one of you to represent Fresh Baked for a catch-a-ride on that ride in a few weeks. Until then, Fresh Baked! We've got lots more videos for you to see, so grab a churro and check out our Secrets in History videos, or maybe our ride-throughs. Or you can just watch all of our weekly trick reports and have your mind blown by how much fun we're having. It truly is the best of Disney Bake Fresh Daily. Oh, and don't forget, you can support Fresh Baked through our Patreon campaign, linked below. Thanks again for watching, everybody. Fresh Baked!